Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the United Stand. We're bringing you the aftermath of the Harry Maguire situation. This is everything that's going on now because of Maguire's decision to be such a greedy you-know-what. And this just brings everything into scope on this show right now and what is going to happen with Manchester United. We're going to get into detail on what's happening with Amrabat. We're going to talk about Dean Henderson, Eric Bailly. I think the common phrase that's coming out of everyone who's at United right now who we don't want is, I'm not leaving. I can see the memes. I can see Jordan Belthwaite stood there on a stage in front of all his staff right now saying, I'm not effing leaving. That seems to be exactly what's going on at United right now, because everyone is just sat on their big wage packets going, what? I don't have to do anything. And player power is in full fruition right now at Manchester United. I mean, it's not just at United. We've seen it in other moves. We've seen what's happening with Mbappe, Neymar, Harry Kane. We've seen all these situations now bubble up to a point where it's just like the club's stuck there with absolutely nothing and no way of shifting players on or getting any deal that suits them. It's just in the hands of all the players. There's lots to get through. There's a lot of reaction from what I said yesterday regarding Maguire as well. There's a few more details. There's a lot of people reporting on what happened after Harry Maguire in a bit more depth now. We've had Sky talking about it a little bit more. The Athletic have been going in on it as well. And we're just going to talk about that now, and I want to get you guys opinions on this as well. Markesh, your t-shirt is mint, Adam. Great start to the show. Cheers for that one, mate. Love all your input as always, guys. Whether it's not football related or what we're talking about, still doesn't matter. It's good to have you in the room with us. Get your comments in. I tried to get through as many as possible yesterday. I don't think I've even come down from how angry I was yesterday yet. As every time I talk to someone, or think I'm going to go and talk to someone about it to try and calm down and sort of like understand what's going on with United right now. They're just as mad as me, and we ended up just arguing with each other, and it just gets worse. Because no matter which way you look at it, it just annoys you, doesn't it? It really does. As fans, we deserve better from what is supposedly one of the biggest clubs in the world. I'm watching Chelsea do things that I thought Manchester United should be doing, or United should be doing. And I'm like, why? Why is this happening? What's going on? We know the Glazer issue, but I'm trying to understand how Chelsea are spending the amounts of money that they are and we're not doing something similar. There's a way that this can be done, but I do believe that we are just hampered by everything that's going on at the football club now. But bigger issue, I feel, is like what's happened before and why we can't get rid of these players. We're going to get into that now. Obviously, I was going to talk at the top of the show about Amrabat. We'll bring that in, but news that is just coming out. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's on the United Twitter feed as well regarding Eric Bailly. Henrik Laporte now is going over to the Saudi League. Basically, I think it was El Nassr who was going to be bidding for Eric Bailly. They've found a better option in Henrik Laporte now, so now it looks like that deal is off. He's also turned away the Besiktas offer as well. It's just not going well for United right now. Alien Tenno in the super chats. Shadow of Woodward looms large. Exactly what I was going to get into as well on this one. But starting with the I'm not leaving news, which basically is everything right now with United. Eric Bailly is just a lesser version of what's going on with Harry Maguire right now. A player that was brought in under Ed Woodward, and now we're dealing with the mess after it. It's embarrassing for Manchester United to actually be dealing with the amounts of money we're having to deal with and beg, steal and borrow to make things happen for Ten Hag when you're watching Liverpool make world record bids, Arsenal make world record bids, Chelsea do all sorts of nonsense in the transfer market, just embarrassing what Manchester United used to be. And I just keep asking the question, why? How is this possible? I mean, Liverpool are making Premier League record bids that are getting turned down. Never mind actually buying players. They're making record bids that are being turned down. We can't get anywhere near it. I said this on the show a while ago, the fact that some of the best English players are available in the market this summer, and Manchester United are not even in the reckoning because of the way our financial situation is. And I understand financial fair play. I understand the ins and outs of it and where we have to be careful, but I'm sure it's not just United that have to understand these financial restraints with financial fair play and everything that's going on. So why are we having to deal with this and no one else seems to be? I mean, yes, I can understand one season out of the Champions League, but surely that doesn't add up and equate to how Chelsea and Liverpool are going about their transfer business. I mean, we'll break down what we've spent and what we've brought in so far, but Chester Photography has just brought in Super Chats. Can you not make Woodward accountable for this? Can we not make Woodward accountable for this? No, we can't, because he was a big part of it. It's a ridiculous Super Chat. Sorry, I appreciate the chat, but how can we not bring him into this? These were his signings, and the contracts that he gave these players are what's hampering us right now. It's quite clear to see. Good morning, Adam, in the chat. Cheers for that one, Gary. I can see people's anger already, just at certain things. I mean, there's loads of different angles of where people are going in, who's to blame and why we're in this mess right now. And they all pretty much have some truth to them, to be fair. I mean, breaking Eric Bailly's one down, basically the player isn't good enough. That's the first point. No one wants him because he's another player that thinks he is better than what he is. Manchester United are full of them types of players right now. Again, I bring back in what Sir Alex Ferguson said yesterday, and his quote was, when I had a player and I knew a player was coming into Manchester United, I researched that player. I looked into that player. I went into depth. You have to understand that player, his characteristics, what he's like on the pitch, off the pitch, his attributes, his mental state, basically. Can he handle the expectation of coming to Manchester United? It's no wonder that the two head scouts were let go last year of Manchester United. It's no wonder Ed Woodward, Matt Judd, all these people have gone. Because these are players that we're talking about now that came in under that regime. That's what I want to get into. That's my point on this. The way Manchester United was run in that era is what we're having to deal with now, and why we're struggling so much to get rid of these players. Because they basically just got given contracts which just gave them the power, like I said. And they just sat there on their fortunes now, just going, well, I don't care. You've got to find someone for me that works for me. Otherwise, I'll just sit here. It's just ridiculous amount of players. And like Maguire, Eric Bailly, I mean, we'll talk about Dean Henderson in a minute, but at least that man has actually tried to make a move away from Manchester United. So as much criticism as Dean Henderson does get, at least he actually is trying to get away from Manchester United, has made it public that he wants to get away. Harry Maguire, Eric Bailly, and I used to like Eric Bailly, I thought he was a good defender, but he's gone completely downhill and definitely does not fit into Erik ten Hag's plans. And that wage is basically what's holding him up. That's keeping him at Manchester United. Agreed. I mean, I look at it and I go, Manchester United have agreed deals for certain players. There's deals in place, and everything that happens from there is where everything is collapsing right now. For me, I don't know where Manchester United are with Eric Bailly in terms of a fee. I can see that on top of what I'm saying. A slight contradict on myself there in terms of a deal in place, because I feel like Manchester United are trying to get rid of Eric Bailly, but they're actually valuing him more than what he's actually worth. I said this many times before, the club need to be backing Ten Hag in different ways, and backing Ten Hag also is cutting your losses just to make room for someone else to come in. Take that loss in terms of how much you're going to get for a player. We know there's players there that we can afford if certain players are sent packing from Manchester United right now. I've got a list here, and I can't remember who it was who tweeted it out yesterday. There was 3 players at Manchester United. I think it was Samuel Luckhurst from the MEN said United are trying to get rid of 3 players before the end of this window. And we know who them players are just from what's been reported in the media, in all publications. It's quite clear. There's actually 4, in my opinion, which is Eric Bailly, Harry Maguire, Donny van der Beek, and Dean Henderson. So for me, I'm looking at this now going, I'm stumped on all 4 of them. So what happens next past that? I don't know who takes them. I don't know who is going to come in for that type of player. Because, like I said, Eric Bailly's now turned down El Nassr, he's turned down Besiktas. Who else is out there? I see Eric Bailly just waiting till the last knockings of the window and then just taking a move to someone who's desperate enough to take that player on. United cannot pay someone to get rid of Eric Bailly right now. That's where we're at with it with him. And he's just laughing at that stupid contract that Ed Woodward gave him. That's what it is. I mean, I was on private chat with Mark this morning. He's been going in on Murto, he's been going in on Arnold, saying there's players there that were easy to get rid of this summer. I don't think they were easy to get rid of, and I don't necessarily want to just throw the whole blame onto Murto and Arnold. I think they've done some good stuff in the window, but what's happened before in the way Manchester United was run, and some people will say Murto and Arnold had a role in all of this as well. You can't just let them off the hook. I'm not letting them off the hook, but what I'm saying is it's not as easy to get rid of them players as everyone's making out. And that's just because of what was given them before. Why would you? Why would you leave Manchester United to go some tin pot outfit, no disrespect, anywhere else in the world? You're at the best club in the world, and you know that is, as a professional footballer, your next step down. It's only down the ladder from Manchester United. That's usually the case. I mean, who has gone on and got better from leaving Manchester United? Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously, that's the big one, but not many. I could count them on one hand, I would say, if you go through United's history, who has improved after leaving Manchester United. And I understand that from the players' side, but like Sir Alex Ferguson said, you need to know the type of player that you're getting in. Where is the research? Where is the scouting? And yeah, the scattergun approach to managers and everything like that. I mean, I couldn't tell you which manager post Sir Alex Ferguson caused more of a mess, to be honest. They've all got their own they've all got their own piece of the pie, which is like the recipe of absolute disaster at Manchester United. I mean, if I gave you, actually I'll put a poll up now, actually. We'll go David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. These managers have all contributed to the carnage which is Manchester United and what we're dealing with right now, in my opinion, alongside obviously the main man, Ed Woodward. And I don't know, because of what's been said. Some people are blaming Erik ten Hag for Harry Maguire still being at the club after what he said. I don't necessarily agree with that either. I think he just said that because he isn't a man that's going to publicly out his players. We know he does his talking with his feet and his team selections. It's up to the club then to obviously listen and look what Ten Hag has been doing on the pitch and get rid of players and bring in players that suit how he wants to play. Super chat in from ME says, not surprised at Maguire and Bailly situations. We would be in exactly the same situation if we were to ship Sancho or Antony. It's not just Woodward. We know who other culprits are. Well, tell me who they are, mate. Who the other culprits are. I mean, Sancho is one on his own. I still believe that Antony's getting unfair stick for how he plays, and people are just jumping on that because it's one of our record signings. I feel like it's just the easy get out, to be honest. I think Manchester United bought the right man at the wrong time because we were inept in the transfer market and we paid probably 20 million more than what we needed to with him. Yoni says, we have to stop playing 4-3-3. We haven't the right players. Until we get Amrabat, we should have signed Tonali, not Mount. Another one who doesn't think Mount is cutting the mustard. There's a few of them. Again, unfair in my opinion on Mason Mount and the stick that he's getting at the moment. I'm not surprised about what his brother did because the stick has gone beyond football matters as well. So it's a bit of a joke on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, it all comes under what happened yesterday. Everything that I'm talking about now is being highlighted even more because of what Harry Maguire is doing. It's basically sat on that bumper deal. I mean, everyone says, like, why are United not doing these long-term deals and spreading the cost of these players over years and years? I mean, when you add Harry Maguire's contract up, it works out at 7 years with the option to buy on the end. So why did he get that deal? I remember saying this yesterday morning as well. Why was that so different to everyone else at the time? But Harry Maguire, I think, has highlighted the bigger issue at Manchester United right now, which is there's too many players that we haven't scouted properly, that aren't good enough to play for Manchester United, have not got the mentality and the strength to handle the pressure and expectation that is Manchester United. So that is all being brought up to, well, it's being highlighted even more right now because Harry Maguire has kicked up the stink that he has done. I am going to bring up more news as it comes into me as well. I did say, and the title of the show is round about Amrabat as well, and a few people have been asking for updates on Amrabat. There are updates. Fabrizio Romano, United have to sell midfielders before signing Sofian Amrabat. This is what I was going into now. That's up on United Stand Twitter feed as well. That's a link from Fabrizio Romano. Di Marzio, obviously, as well, has been talking about Sofian Amrabat. This deal is still on. Amrabat is still waiting for Manchester United. United have been trying to balance their books in terms of, can we get Amrabat now, or do we have to sell players? Basically, this is going to come down to if one of Scott McTominay or Donny van der Beek leave Manchester United. Now, the problem in that is the only one with value to that is the player that Manchester United have come out publicly and said is United's youngest senior central midfielder at the club, and they do not want to let him go unless something seriously substantial comes in bid terms. That's not going to happen. I'll tell you right now, no one's going to bid 45 million for Scott McTominay. It would have already happened this window. I don't think there's any club in a desperate enough situation right now. I would say the only club I could see Scott McTominay going to is West Ham if Paqueta goes to Manchester City. That's the only club I can see going in. They'd have that amount of money, and in the end would probably be pressured into bringing another midfielder in. Maybe the situation at City with De Bruyne being out for 4 months now pushes their hand a bit more in terms of bringing him in. And then Scott McTominay, it opens up for West Ham to bring Scott McTominay in. But, I mean, Manchester, there's rumours that United would accept 35 for Scott. I think it's closer to 40. I can understand the valuation of it, but the fact that Manchester United aren't pushing it or not willing to negotiate on Scott McTominay tells you everything. He came on and played a bit of a role against Wolves the other day, made a couple of decent tackles. And Manchester United right now are in a situation, and yes, it is good that Amrabat is waiting around for us. But like I said yesterday, how long is Amrabat going to wait? How long is he going to hang around? Liverpool need a central midfielder. This is the worry for Manchester United. The problem we've got is, like I said, it's Donny or McTominay. McTominay's the only one with value that we can get money for to bring in possibly Amrabat right now. And he's not going anywhere. The Sociedad deal has broken down on him. And again, you start to wonder why, how. It goes back to what I just said. It's basically Manchester United are not scouting players, and the players that are in, Donny's another one brought in by Solskjaer, and another one brought in the Ed Woodward era, who just was not ready for Manchester United. Yeah, he looks good in an Ajax shirt, but when you put on that Manchester United shirt and you have one bad game and the crowd starts getting on top of you, then you start to see the real player. You start to see what he's really made about, or what he's really made of. For Manchester United, this is another tweet that's come out from Fabrizio Romano via Caught Offside. I was reading a bit of this morning, actually. For Manchester United to sign, they must sell another midfielder. Fred is gone, and the other could be Donny van der Beek, but there's still no agreement with Real Sociedad, like I just said there. Another option would be Scott McTominay in case West Ham return or another club joins the race. I said there, I don't think another club is going to join the race. I think this all comes down to Manchester City signing Paqueta from West Ham. If that happens, I can see the possibility of Scott McTominay going into West Ham. If they hold off on that one, West Ham, and don't sell to Manchester City, then I think Manchester United are struggling to bring in another player. You break down what Manchester United have brought in so far, I think it's around about 40 million we've made in players. If you add, I think it's Kovar, Fred, Alanga, a couple of the youth players as well, I think it adds up to around about that sort of region in terms of how much money we've made. Not a lot, to be honest. Harry Maguire would have definitely helped out with that one and give us more than enough money. And like I said yesterday, if we sold Harry Maguire, I wouldn't be looking necessarily for a replacement. I wouldn't. I'll be looking at bringing in a midfielder and solidifying that area first. Yanni 4416 says, I'm not writing off Mount, just wrong signing. We need an engine in midfield. Amrabat, Tonali or Rice. We have Fernandez, Eriksson already. I think he's talking there. I understand where he's going with that one, with the super chat there, in terms of the flair players, the ones that aren't the physical players, the ones, the winners, the battlers. You could see that was clear against Wolves because we just got battered all over the pitch. Physicality was a miss for Manchester United in that game against Wolves, and that's where we struggled. We struggled big time because they were all over us. Like I said, quicker, faster, stronger. That's what their midfield was. Manchester United, very, very weak. I look at that. I look at Manchester United's team and I look at players who are going to put the foot in. You go past The defenders in Martinez and the holding midfielders that we've got in maybe Casemiro, Scott McTominay, and then everyone else further forward of that. And that's five players from that point forward, including 2 more midfielders and 3 forwards. Who are you going to say is going to put their body on the line? Not a one. I mean, Højlund is a different animal altogether. He's stronger, he's up for the fight, he's more direct than anyone else we've got at the football club. Rashford's not going to stick his foot in. Garnacho, definitely not. Sancho, Jesus, forget it. Eriksen, not that type of player. Mount, he is tenacious, he gets about a bit, but he's not what I would say is that ball-winning midfielder that sets the ball rolling. Bruno will do it snidely in his own certain way, but we haven't got that winner. We haven't got that battler in there. Scott McTominay has got that attribute, but hasn't got anything else that really adds to that gives us the quality to compete. I'm talking the likes of, and you listen to Bruno Fernandes's interview just before the Wolves game regarding the toughest midfielders that he's come up against. It's players that you've never seen at Manchester United. The likes of Rodri, Kante. That player's a dying breed right now. They are valuable beyond. You ask any Manchester City fan who their most valuable players are. I guarantee Rodri's in their top 3, and they've got talent all over that squad. He is pivotal to everything that Pep Guardiola does. Every single top club has that midfielder in place. And you look at all the ones that are successful, especially in the Premier League, and how fast it is and how physical it is. You need that player, but he also has to have that little bit of quality on the ball as well. You win it back, you've got to have that next bit to your game where you can have the vision to start a move or pick a player out. We don't have that, I don't feel. Casemiro has got it, but we know he isn't the quickest. We know he takes a few games to get going. That will come in time this season, but looking at it, Amrabat fits the mould. It does. It's just devastating that Manchester United haven't got the money to bring in a player that's probably going to cost 30 million. It's disastrous, but it does sort of add up with everything that we were talking about with several journalists that came on the show about how much money Manchester United have got to spend, around that 100 to 120 million pound mark. So you add it all up, I think we had all our deals up, Onana, Mount and Højlund, I think it's around about 140. We've brought in around about 35, 40 million in players sold, bringing us down in around 100 million net spend. Where have we heard that before? Nearly every bleeding season, pre-season under the Glazers. That's where we've heard that before. That's where United are at right now. And the fact that we can't go past that is an absolute disaster. It really is. And again, I go back to what I said at the start of the show. It just annoys you even more when you've got Chelsea, who haven't even got a shirt sponsor, spending billions. Manchester United have got sponsorship deals coming out their ears, with money coming in from all sorts of angles, and we're not spending jack. Chelsea haven't got a shirt sponsor yet, and they're spending multi-millions, billions in fact, in 2 seasons. Yes, they've sold a lot of players, but let's not kid ourselves. Let's check what Chelsea's net spend is, and it's basically Manchester United about 5 pre-seasons worth. You tell me. The revenues that United are bringing in, the stadium, the match day, everything that comes with United, our revenues and turnovers are just monumental compared to what Chelsea's are. There's no excuse for Manchester United, an institution that it is, to be scraping the barrel on transfers that we're doing right now. But I do put a lot of the blame down to how this club has run. The Glazers are the issue. The people that they put in charge to get them money and run this football club is the next big issue at Manchester United. We have got past it a little bit and we're moving slowly in the right direction, but you're still not going to get to that next level until the Glazers are gone and out of this football club. That's the be-all and end-all of it. Until they're gone, we're not going to be able to compete with the likes of Chelsea. The other news, I mean, it's the same again. We've had quite a few journalists on here right now. I think it was Jamie Jackson who was on a couple of weeks ago, or last week in fact it was, when he said Manchester United right now, after the 3 signings we've made, it is player for player in terms of one has to come in, one has to go out for another to come in. It's the same with Pavard. Manchester United's restraints are of Pavard will be going nowhere from Bayern Munich if Harry Maguire stays at the football club. It does look like Harry Maguire is going to be staying at Manchester United. The reports that came out yesterday, and the tweet is up there on your screen now from Romano on that one. Benjamin Pavard told Bayern he wants to sign a new contract and he wants to join Manchester. He won't sign a new contract and wants to sign for Manchester United, but it was linked to Maguire's future. If Maguire stays, it's difficult to see Manchester United spending big money on a new centre-back. Ten Hag really appreciates Lindelof. Oh, God. Ten Hag and his appreciation for certain players. God, sometimes I wish there wasn't a media and journalist out there who come out with this stuff. And players see all of this. Players wait for it. And the most annoying thing regarding things coming out was, and this is where I'll go back to player power right now. I heard this on the radio coming in this morning. I think it was Alex Crook on TalkSport was talking. And he said Harry Maguire was told privately by Erik ten Hag that he is a key member of this squad and he wants him to fight for his place. But Harry Maguire and his people wanted that to be brought out in public. Oh my God. I mean, how pathetic can you be? You need it to come out in public to actually want to stay and fight for your place at Manchester United. Do me a favour, seriously. It just gets worse with this guy. And this is what I mean by player power. It's like the clubs are just defenceless against it, it seems. Unless you are a properly run club, then you have got no chance when it comes to shifting players on or bringing players in. It's as simple as that. United are in the midst of repairing so much damage right now from yesteryears and previous regimes of managers and sporting directors, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what Ed Woodward was. He was just a nightmare. We'll call him the nightmare. That's what he is. As of now, Fiorentina have not received any official bid for Sofyan Amrabat. These tweets are all coming out right now and news is updating constantly on this one, guys. But yeah, this deal can still be done. We know Amrabat wants to come. We've talked about it several times. We can still do this deal. United have to be very, very clever in what they do. Now, I look at it and I'm thinking off the top of my head, who have we not talked about yet? Samuel Lucas, like I said from the MEN, said United are looking to move on 3 players. Well, I counted 4 off the top of my head that definitely need to go, who we know the club are trying to get rid of. And then we've not even brought up the likes of Brandon Williams on top of that. Is Brandon Williams a key part of this squad for Ten Hag? How many left-backs does he need? We've got Malacia, we've got Luke Shaw, we've got Alvaro Fernandez, we've got Brandon Williams. Why are we not moving one of them on? I mean, at this stage right now, and this pains me to say this, I think Alvaro Fernandez carries more clout than Brandon Williams. And I think we can actually get more money for him than we would Brandon Williams. If this helps go towards Manchester United getting that extra midfielder, I'm sorry, that's how I would go. And that does pain me for that, because that's probably unfair on Alvaro Fernandez, I would say. I mean, guys, who do you think at Manchester United right now is worth anything that we can put towards Sofyan Amrabat, apart from the obvious? Where can we be clever? Get your comments in, let me know. I didn't like what I seen against Wolverhampton, says Ray. No one at Old Trafford did, mate. You're not the only one. It was painful. I'll back you on that one. But guys, get your comments in. Is there anyone at Manchester United other than the main protagonist who we've been talking about on today's show that can give us that little bit more money? I mean, McTominay, Maguire, they're the obvious ones. Looks like no one wants to spend money on Donny. No one wants to take a risk on a player that's done nothing for 3 seasons. You can't blame them, let's be honest. Rashford, sell him. Bit harsh, to be honest. Sancho, again, another one, unless someone comes in with a stupid bid. Hannibal's an interesting one. I can see that one come up there. Henderson, I'm going to talk about Henderson in a minute, actually, because there is a lot more going on with him right now. Williams for 10 million for Tyler Adams, because no one wants them. Yeah, that's the problem. Sell McTominay. Ahmad, he's another player with value. We have to be clever. And sometimes at a big club, you have to be brutal. Brutal means getting rid of players that probably don't deserve to go, but they're having to be shipped off because of the crap that's already there that's digging their heels in. And this is why I find it staggering how the club can look at it, and they say that they have the fans' interest at heart. They are turning this fan base against Harry Maguire by not doing a better job than what they're already doing, in my opinion. That's how this club is acting right now. They need to be doing more and forcing things. Take the hit. Take the hit. Give Maguire that a little bit more if it means you're getting a bit less. You can still go out and buy who you need to. You're losing 200 grand a week in wages, and you're going to get around about 20 million when you've paid everything off for Harry Maguire. Take the hit and back the manager is what I say. Otherwise, you're turning the fan base against not just that player, but against the club, because Harry Maguire now is in the way of someone else coming through. You could have a Reece Bennett coming through the youth system right now, getting a chance to sit on the bench on a match day, getting that opportunity, that one opportunity like Kobe Mainoo had. Not now, you're not, because you've got Harry Maguire and Lindelof both sat on the bench. Brandon Williams in the way of Alvaro Fernandez. I have nothing against Brandon Williams. I actually really backed him, and I thought that he was going to be a good player for United. Whether or not he's learned and he can be part of the squad, I do not know. But I'm looking at all these players that have had a chance, wasted it, taken the big wages, that are now in the way of people and players that should be brought through and should be given a chance. That's my gripe with how things are going right now. A source close to Harry Maguire say Harry Maguire remains settled at Manchester United, loves the club and believes he will get plenty of opportunities to play this season. That was a tweet from Simon Stone earlier on as well. He's not going to get plenty of opportunities. He's really not. If Fergie was here, Maguire would have been gone. If Fergie was here, Maguire probably wouldn't have even been bought. Like I said, Ray, thanks for the super chat, because like Ferguson said, he researched these players and scouted them and made sure that they were the right mentality for Manchester United. Harry Maguire had a good first season. The pressure then got to him and his form dipped, and it has got worse and worse and worse because of the pressure of putting that red shirt on. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, another moment when he gave Harry Maguire the captaincy. Again, bad management. Not doing like what Sir Alex Ferguson says, knowing who you're bringing in. It's just, yeah, it just winds you up, and it just makes you think about everything that's gone on before at Manchester United and how we've got ourselves in this mess. It's obvious how we've got ourselves into this mess, but yeah. What can we do? We can only sit here and complain and moan about it and hope that the club start acting as they should, like a proper club. Would Sir Alex Ferguson have bought Maguire? That is I already know. This is a poll that I think is just going to be a landslide right now. Would he have bought him? I think some people would say, because Sir Alex Ferguson did always like the best English players as well. I'll tell you what, Ferguson might have bought Maguire. He wouldn't have bought him for 80 million. That's a guarantee. United are not serious about Amrabat. They're ready to start negotiations for Pavard, but not for Amrabat, says James. I think they are serious about Amrabat. I disagree on that one. Again, for some reason, Ten Hag wants a replacement. And this is where you sort of got to bring Ten Hag into the conversation as well. Because I don't think Ten Hag needs another centre-back at Manchester United if Harry Maguire goes. I really don't. I think we've got ample cover. And I just feel like the money can be spent better elsewhere. I mean, central midfield. Forget centre-back right now. I think we've got enough in that department. But looking at it, I would go, yeah, everything has to be geared towards Amrabat right now. And then we're scraping an all right window. I think there was a chance that this window was going to turn into a very good one. When that Highland deal went through, everyone was thinking that this has an opportunity here, this window, of being one of our best ones. And then slowly but surely, as time has gone on, and certain players haven't left, and we've not been able to bring anyone else in, it's just turning into a bit of a damp squib. But I do believe still in the players that Ten Hag has bought. I think they are good signings. We've not even seen Highland yet, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves in terms of performances. Wolves was bad. Can't get any worse than that. Fitness will get better and players will get better. Nice smart watch, Adam. Yep. Cheers, Apple. You know the way to go. Count your steps, people. Always be on it. That's funny. That reminds me of a comment of a guy that actually sits behind me at Old Trafford and where I sit on my season ticket. He says, he came up with a comment one time, Scott McTominay's only on the pitch to get his steps in. He does nothing but run around. It made me giggle at the time. I'm not disrespecting Scott at all. It just one of them comments that just made me laugh at the time. But Highland updates, please, Adam. I wish I had more for you. Ten Hag is keeping this one under wraps. We did have a game yesterday. I quickly just want to talk about this. I know Kovard went for 7.7, so that's where I added the monies together, about 40 million that we've brought in so far, bringing our net spending at around 100 million. We need that extra sale so we can keep it at 100 million net. But in terms of options going forward for United, Spurs this weekend, Anthony Martial played yesterday and scored in the game behind closed doors. So did Scott McTominay. But I feel now like we know for certain that Martial has been training, first team training for over 2 weeks. He's now played a game as well. If he does not start against Spurs and Rashford isn't moved out back to the left where he plays his best football, I'm questioning a lot about that. I'm like, what is the point of Martial if we know he's fit and he's not playing him? That's what for me, and we'll talk about this closer to the time and the build-up and everything to the game, but Martial has to start against Spurs. If Højlund isn't fit yet, apparently it's a couple more weeks away for Højlund. So I expect to possibly see Højlund maybe for the Forest game. Definitely won't be fit for Arsenal. I'd be surprised. But if Martial is playing in a game and has been in full training now for, like we said, 2 weeks, he has to start against Spurs. He has to. Rashford doesn't work in the middle. Spurs play a very high line. For me, like I said, I'm not going to go into it too much, but I'd be really disappointed if I didn't see a front line of Anthony or Sancho, Martial and Rashford up front against Spurs. Garnacho needs to be a bit of an impact player at the moment for me. I said my piece on him after the Wolves game. Bit too much too soon, maybe. But yeah, we need to be careful with him, I feel, as well. So Martial has to start for me. But that game did go on yesterday. There were a few players that played in that. Donny also played in that one. Again, just like, I can see why. Honestly, I'd be playing the leading first team players in that game, trying to get the match fitness up. Because we're miles behind it. I'd be giving like 20, 30 minutes to players that played against Wolves, me. I don't know why the others are playing games, but because let's be honest, they ain't coming in to play against Spurs, are they? Apart from Martial, which is the point I just made. Yeah, stupid, sorry. But yeah, Dean Henderson. I want to talk about Dean Henderson. Interesting, and I think it's gone under the radar this morning. I think it was Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic retweeted something that came from the Nottingham side of things on this one, is that Nottingham Forest are going to give Matt Turner his opportunity in the Premier League, which means Manchester United have a new number 2, and it's our old friend Dean Henderson. That looks like where we're going with that right now. I asked the question before about players you think we could sell on to make that extra money. Dean Henderson came up a few times in the chat. Dean Henderson looks like he's going nowhere, people. The only option that looked like was on the table for him was Nottingham Forest. They are now backing Matt Turner as their first choice goalkeeper. So Dean Henderson is now a Manchester United player again this season. Pretty disappointing to be honest, because I had him down as a definite 20 million in our kitter for player outs. I had Maguire in there. Obviously, Elanga has gone to Forest. You'd have thought we'd have been able to sort of package up a double deal or something there, maybe. Henderson is our downfall, dragging the deal. The injury did not help Dean Henderson last season. I do believe if he didn't get that tear in his thigh, then he would have seen out the season for Forest. It would have shown how important he was to them, and I think they would have made it their priority. But the uncertainty of that injury, and like Manchester United trying to make a deal with Nottingham Forest for a loan with an obligation to buy, they were trying to negotiate how many games he would have to play for Forest for that obligation to buy to be triggered within that contract. That's where it slowed up with Dean Henderson. And in the end, like Harry Maguire with West Ham, they've just gone, the season started. We can't wait any longer. That's it. Cut your losses. We're moving on. Matt is our goalkeeper. Dino, see you later. Go back and talk to Erik ten Hag, who you said would definitely want to keep you if he's seen you play. You've played absolutely nothing so far, Dino, mate, and that interview is really coming back to kick you in the arse right now. It really is. I mean, thoughts on Henderson, guys? Another mistake from United, another loss, another missed opportunity is how I put it. Let's just see how you guys are feeling. I mean, lots of you brought up Dean Henderson as a player we could make money on. Alanga looked good at weekend. He did look good when he came on, actually. He really did. For F's sake, can we sign players? Says Alassi, sorry. No, we can't. Dino, you prat. There you go. Perfect comment right there. Why did Henderson go on tour? I think it was punishment. It was crazy. I brought that up about Dean Henderson being on the tour. It was like we had 5 goalkeepers on that tour or played a part in the tour. And he was it 5 did we have in the end? So we had Heaton, we had Onana, we had Kovar played a part, Vitek played a part, Bishop played a part. Dean Henderson was involved in the travelling party but played 0 part in any game. Very strange, and for me, looked like Ten Hag punishing Dean Henderson for opening his mouth. Super chat in from Darren Mulaney. We could have not... sorry, I was bringing it up again, just lost it. We would not have this problem with Qatar in charge clearing the debt. We could just pay them off. We should do loan to buy deals if can't buy them. That's what I said in being creative. Can United not make a loan deal themselves? Can we not do like we did with Carlos Tevez? Could we not bring in that type of deal that Chelsea did with João Felix, for instance? Someone like that. Again, it's not the type of player that we desperately... I mean, we could do with João Felix. I'm not saying that. I just feel like we need that extra midfielder of the different sort of type of player than Felix is right now before that. But for me, yeah, United, why can't we be creative like other clubs are? Why can't we do the loan with an obligation to buy ourselves? I don't know. Is it stubbornness that we are United and we just cannot do that? I don't know. I don't know why Manchester United have to feel... I'll feel like they have to be so different to everyone else. Why can't we pair Scott alongside Casemiro? Because I'd rather have Mason Mount or Bruno Fernandes is the answer to that one. We all complain about United, but still buy the new home shirts unless you get given for nothing. Oh, don't stir it. Don't stir it, Adam. You know you're only going to wind people up and get people angry again. Adam, I fear the worst against Spurs. Sammy, I understand. And you know what? It goes back to a lot of pundits and a lot of opposition fans are saying when they're looking at Manchester United from the outside, they go, it looks like it's going to go one way or it's going to go the other. It could be great and United could move on. They have made progress. And it could just completely fall off the cliff like it did a few times in certain games. The Spurs game comes into that one. I could see Spurs battering us, but I can see United winning the game also. I do believe that Manchester United can really control that game by using how Postecoglou plays his games, how he actually sets his teams up. That high line is something United should be looking at. And that's why I would definitely play, my front three would be Anthony, Martial and Rashford. That pace from that high line, I think we should destroy them. And the cleverness in the midfielders, in terms of the likes of Bruno, Casemiro, that type of player who can play that long ball, who likes to play that diagonal. We've seen it work against Spurs in the same game, same fixture last season with the ball over the top to Rashford for our second goal. So, yeah, I feel like his first home game, the atmosphere is going to be up in the stadium. The onus will be on them to move forward and try and win the game. United, I think, will play counter-attack football in this one. That's just how I see it going. But yeah, I do understand the fear of it as well. Come on, Mount needs more time, settle in. Keep starting him could do more harm than good to him if we do drop him out. I understand that Glazer out. Yes. Let's just get through a few more comments. Maguire will leave in January. I just need Maguire to leave now. Super chat in from Zaggy says, watching how efficient Chelsea operates, this really shows how erratic Murto and co are. They make more transactions in a day. We do. Sorry, that's not been written right there. They make more transactions in a day than we do at our entire window. Honestly, like I said before with Chelsea, they are working on different parameters to what Manchester United are, and I don't understand why. So for me, I just feel like we could take a leaf from Chelsea's book, but I don't think Manchester United will. I really don't. And with everything going on with the ownership situation at the moment, until that's clarified, I don't think United are willing to go outside of how they normally operate. I just feel like that is how it is. So, rounding the video up, because there's not much else to talk to. Obviously, if anything else breaks, we will bring it to you here on the United Stand. Maguire making excuses. Henderson looks like he's going to be Manchester United's number 2 goalkeeper. And the general theme coming from players who we want to get out of Manchester United is, I'm not leaving, basically. Donny, no one wants to buy him, I'll pump up a fee. Eric Bailly's turning deals down by the day. And we heard nothing on Brandon Williams or any other player that could bring United that extra bit of money, because United need that money to go for the likes of Amrabat or make another purchase. That's where we're at. We need to sell to buy from this point forward. Don't expect anyone else to come in. United have to be clever in the market. Can we do it? I don't know. What is there left? A couple of weeks now of the transfer window. Yeah, we will see. Maybe something will break on my birthday tomorrow. Yes, by the way, my birthday tomorrow, people. So I won't be doing anything. So hit me up on my own socials if you want to say happy birthday. But yeah, that is it for now. Done and dusted. Hopefully that doesn't mean done and dusted in terms of news. Hopefully we get some good news coming through. But until then, guys, like, share and subscribe. Let's get this video up to 1,000 likes. We're nearly there now, guys. So do hit that like button. In fact, just like the video. That means you've wished me happy birthday. So that will do nicely. Cheers for that, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you this afternoon. We'll keep you updated with everything that comes out of the club, as always. Hopefully it's better news than what I've brought you this morning. Sorry, but that's it for now. Cheers, everyone. See you later.